balance time. This is the third and final video in the balance series, probably. I may make one on the items later, which will cover the rest of the heroes, which go from P to whatever is that. So first of all, this is my view on balance, so just saying if you don't agree with it, that's okay. That's just my view on balance and what I think at the moment, which in a few patches might change, or just over time, even if the heroes are not touched. Maybe I will see something about a hero that I have never seen before and think of him, oh, actually this hero is overpowered. So this is just at this moment, and it will probably be irrelevant in the future, but this is just mine, and also I'll try and make this faster and better than the previous balance videos. So in case Artillery, the new hero that came out, a lot of people think that he's kind of lacking, or at least in design or in power, I'm not sure, but I think this hero is incredibly good and strong, and I haven't played him enough and haven't seen him enough, but if anything, I think he's either balanced or overpowered. Some people complain about his Q not being strong. 31% of attack damage and bonus damage, and that's plus 15. And it attacks 4 times a second. So 4 times a second. If you think about it from a math point of view, that's 124% of your attack damage per second, plus 15 damage, and it goes through Shrunken Head. So my question to you is, you have to be attacking faster than once a second, which is really fast, for your normal attack to deal more damage than this one. Plus this attack deals AoE damage, it goes through people, so I don't see why are people complaining with this skill. It's especially good in the current tanky meta, where if, for example, Keeper or Tempest summons a bunch of units, you can just use this to clear out the enemy units from a huge distance and without endangering yourself. And if someone does come close, you just use the Artillery Barrage, the ultimate, and get away. So I think this hero is very relevant to the current metagame and steers into the right direction, away from tankiness and the pushiness, which I'm not sure push is a bad thing, but tankiness definitely is. So definitely a good hero. I think he will be picked competitively in the future. I don't know for now. Of course he will be banned since he's a new hero, but that's my view on Artillery. Haven't played him enough. Maybe he's definitely at least balanced, or maybe even overpowered. Anyway, we move on. So Pandemonium is definitely underpowered. Definitely underpowered. And I'm already repeating myself. I promised to make this video better. Anyway, I'm gonna click on this now. So I'm gonna click on every hero now. So the problem with this hero is how he eats mana, which he eats it very fast and has a pretty bad intelligence gain and not much intelligence in general. He just lacks mana so much, and he cannot use all of his skills that often. That's the main problem with the hero. He has quite a few farming skills. Yeah, he farms very well, but he needs mana to farm. 4 active skills in a strange hero, really hard. And even though a lot of his skills are like AoE, he kind of focuses on taking down a single target very well. So that's the main problem with the hero. I mean, there are much better carries than this hero that don't really need mana to carry. And I'm assuming that's what this hero tries to be, because he's not that good early game, simply because he has mana to deal massive amounts of damage. Yeah, he deals a bit of damage, or like a moderate amount of damage in a short span of time, but once he's out of mana, he can't really do much. Like, for example, Artesia, I would say, but Artesia does everything from range, and I think Artesia deals more damage than this guy. And his ultimate is, yeah, Succubus has the same ultimate, but she does it from a range. He's supposed to be a physical damage dealer, so he goes through magic immunity and things like that, which is a good option to have, but Rampage is just so much better, because when you want to go through magic immunity, you don't just want to do damage, you perhaps want to disable them so that they cannot channel skills or escape with a TP or just do anything in general. And I mean, Rampage has so many more reliable stuns, and one of his stuns is even passive. Rampage does not have the mana problems and basically is a better version of Pandemonium. Pandemonium isn't even a carry, he's kind of a semi-carry, I would say. So yeah, that's what the problem is with Pandemonium. He's a good option as a physical damage dealer, but he lacks mana, and there are heroes that do it better. So that's kind of a problem with Pandemonium. I think he's not too, he's not Drunken Master level, but I think he needs a buff, definitely. So that's it for Pandemonium. With a crazy amount of farm, he can be okay, but I never was really scared of a Pandemonium. And I think that's the problem, considering he can't really be much else than a carry. Parasite is balanced. I think when he first came out, it was a big problem because people thought, oh, this hero is so useless, but then a couple of competitive teams picked him up and boom, actually he's a decent hero. Well, yeah, he's an incredibly good jungler and he ganks really well at early levels, and that's pretty much everything you have to do. Plus, with a Codex, he deals a crazy amount of damage. Yeah, Parasite is just a cool hero to have in your team. He does his job well as a jungler and roamer. Yeah, I don't see a big problem with this hero. He's not too weak, not too strong. Yeah, especially after S2 decided to buff creeps, which was when Parasite became even more useful. Creep cast times were reduced, which means to, for example, land a Minotaur stun became much easier, since it took less time for the cast animation and for the skill to go off. And then the Windkins or whatever, the guys, the magic immune guys with wings, those creeps, the blue ones, they got an ability that makes them invisible, which also buffed Parasite, since he's the only one who can use those abilities. Because the creeps are magic immune, you cannot take them over on any other hero except Parasite. So those were nice buffs, and right now I think Parasite is in a good spot. Pebbles, he's balanced. I think he loses strength late game, but he also can be a carry, and even though his combo is incredibly scary if you get some health, and by the way, I forgot about counters, but I can't really tell you. Well, Parasite, get Mystic Vestments. Pandemonium, I can't really tell you many counters, perhaps because he doesn't really need them. You can get, what is it called? God damn it, what is it called? Void Talisman, there we go, that makes you immune to physical stuff. Also, a hero I'd like to mention to counter this hero is Nomad. His ultimate actually goes off on Pandemonium's second skill flick, which it doesn't deal damage, but still causes his ultimate to go off. Nomad, I mean. And his third skill also spends quite a bit of time in the air, which gives Nomad time to prepare and use his ultimate. So, Nomad, good counter to Pandemonium, just to mention. So, anyway, Parasite, yeah, as I already said, Mystic Vestments. So Pebbles, Mystic Vestments, of course, and stacking health, and Pebbles won't be a problem. People are starting to build him as a carry now, and I think that's good, but Pebbles still isn't that good of a carry for some reason. I mean, he has crazy damage, but I guess the problem is his maybe speed. He does have a stun though, but it has a huge cooldown. So I don't know. We'll see, but for now I don't think there's a big problem with Pebbles. Yeah, he's pretty strong, but he eats mana a lot. But it does pay off since he deals so much damage. Next we have Pestilence. I think he is, well, honestly, he is balanced, but might be a little bit strong, but definitely, well, not definitely, but I don't think he's too overpowered. The problem, I think, is people don't realize how good his ultimate is. Not only does it give vision and counter invisibility heroes, it also subtracts a huge amount of armor, which if you stack it with like a shield breaker and a soul's bulwark, this hero can carry really well, just that competitive players don't do it. He has one of the best stuns in the game. His flight is also a really good skill. He has a stun, a passive stun. This hero is really strong, and I don't think many people realize that. All you need is pretty much a portal key and then you can go for carry items. But yeah, this hero is really strong. A small problem with him is that he doesn't really have any farming skills, because using your second skill to farm is kind of bad. Doesn't deal that much damage. And if you shut him down early game, he's not that relevant late game. And I haven't yet seen a Pestilence that was like super scary. So I would have to say balanced, but maybe could use a nerf? I don't know. Tell me guys what you think. Perhaps you think that Pestilence is bad and no way you should nerf him. But yeah, tell me about it in the comments. Pharaoh, he is underpowered. He is straight up underpowered. I don't know why do competitive players keep picking him. I guess there's like 1 or 2 players in the competitive scene that just like Pharaoh no matter what. But he's such a bad pickup, especially in the current tanky metagame. He deals no damage. 200 magic damage, and his ultimate deals 300 magic damage in level 3. That's it. Wow, why do competitive players pick this hero so often? Yeah, his disables are decent, but they're not real disables. I mean, it's better to have a stun. Late game Pharaoh is also incredibly bad, unless he gets like 500 GPM. Even then, he's not that strong. I don't see why is he such a big problem. He's a good ganker, yeah, decent one, but he's definitely not that strong. There are definitely better options, especially in the tanky metagame where he doesn't contribute anything to the team. Like nothing, because he deals no damage. He can't do anything. He cannot carry. He needs a buff, and I will never understand why competitive players pick him. Really, I do not get it. I think the only possible reason is because he's good in the suicide lane. He can get last hits with his third skill and harass at the same time, kind of. So he can be sent to a suicide lane, but really only pick this hero because of that. He's gonna be useless late game anyway. So, I mean, pick Bubbles if you want a suicide lane or something. So, could use a buff, I think. To counter Pharaoh, I really don't know if you need to counter him. You can get a tablet so that you can tablet out of his mummy wall, but other than that, Pharaoh isn't really a problem. By the way, to counter Pestilence, that would be a good question. I guess you could try stack some armor, like get a Soul's Bulwark and a Ring of the Teacher, but yeah, countering Pestilence isn't that easy. Next we have Plague Rider. Obvious counter to him is Mystic Vestments. Not so obvious counter, perhaps a Mana Battery, because he will be spamming his first and third skills quite often, and just to get some mana and health back for it. But yeah, Mystic Vestments, and this hero can't do much. Shrunken Head, and this hero can't do anything at all. You can also try get a Nullstone against him. It won't block the ultimate unless the opponent is incredibly bad, but it will block the first skill, which does deal a good chunk of damage. As for Plague Rider as a hero, he is underpowered. He is like one of the best win percentages. I mean, look at this. Even I have only lost one game ever as Plague Rider. This is crazy. This hero is way too good. I mean, he's just too easy to play for how much he offers. And if you land a good ultimate, it's just a teamfight changer. I don't know why before competitive players complain about this hero, especially in the current tanky metagame with his shield. He's really, really strong. So I don't think this hero needs 315 movement speed. He's really good, but he could use a nerf. I would say he's overpowered because he's just too good and too easy to play as a hero. He's also recommended for newer players, and not without reason. So he could use some toning down. He's not broken, but on the strong side. So I don't think there are currently many or any broken overpowered heroes that are just too strong and oh my god, this is overpowered and needs nerf. There are a couple of broken underpowered heroes where they're broken to the point where they're unusable, like Soul Reaper and Drunken Master, for example, but not overpowered to the point. So when I say overpowered, don't think of it, oh, this is huge. No, he's just strong. Polywog Priest, if anything, I would say he's overpowered. He has 2 insane disables. His ultimate is insanely good, and the cooldown is not that strong. He's also really good for pushing towers, and he can farm with his first skill. He's a good mid, he's a good side lane, he's a good pretty much everything. It's a shame he can't jungle, because that would just make this hero perfect. Yeah, this hero needs some kind of nerf, I'm not sure what. Perhaps a small nerf to hit the damage, to like keep it 280 on the 4th level. Perhaps a decreasing duration of his disables. Not sure about wards. Perhaps a small increase in cooldown. But this hero is just too strong. If you wanted some tips how to play Polywog, then max out your Morph before Tongue Tied, because when you use Morph and disable an enemy, you can actually continue moving yourself. And if you max out Tongue, yes, it has a higher duration, but you won't be able to do anything while it's active. And don't be afraid to use wards. Wards is your main skill. Just get that level 6 and try trap enemies. If you don't, it's not too big of a deal. Just push towers. You can go for a Soul's Bulwark on minus armor or armor boots to help you push, but this hero is just really good. And to counter him, well, Nullstone kind of helps, but he can disable it quite easily. And really, you just have to think about your positioning and not get close to a Polywog Priest, which if he gets a portal key, you're in big trouble. I'd say try get tanky heroes, because even though he has a ton of disables, he doesn't deal that much damage. I mean, yeah, he takes down some heroes very quickly, but if you're tanky and you just attack your way out of his ward trap, then you should be fine. But other than that, I can't really give you much advice. Yeah, Shrunken Head counters him completely, so, but yeah. And you have Predator. I think he's balanced. His third skill is a really good anti-tank skill, because it steals their health really, really fast. And even if he's a bit too strong, Predator, I mean, I think we need him right now in the current metagame. We need him to be strong. I mean, he has a leap for kind of an escape mechanism. His Stone Hide, his Terror is pretty good, not too good, but he's a pretty good carry. He can jungle, he can solo, he can side lane. He has a built-in Shrunken Head. When you're playing against him, get a Void Talisman, that will counter him definitely, and a TP, or just a TP. I'm not sure he will be able to kill you in time. He could, but, and of course, Rampage and heroes that deal physical damage. You can get Pandemonium to counter him specifically, but Rampage is kind of a better option in this case. You could even go for Legionnaire, which is also physical and stuff. And just a good hero, but I would say balanced. He can be a problem, but he's not really picked competitively for whatever reason. But yeah, I should not look at competitive levels, because that just makes me biased. As you can see, my gold per minute and KD ratios are really good with this hero. Yeah, he's strong, perhaps could use a small nerf, but we need him in the current metagame. So I would be against a nerf on this hero, if anything. Next we have Puppet Master. This guy, I'm sure he has been nerfed so many times. Okay, I'll just say my personal feelings on this guy. I think he's underpowered because he is way too squishy. He has the same problem as Flint Beast would, kind of. But then again, okay, I'll label him as underpowered / balanced. He has really good disables, but yeah, the problem of squishiness, he drops really fast. If he doesn't get that, what is it called? Assassin Shroud early, then he will have really big trouble later on. Yeah, it's kind of hard to carry with this hero at the moment. But okay, I suppose he's underpowered / balanced, so he could be balanced. And this is just my personal opinion. I think this hero could use some help. Now, I might be completely wrong here, because his disables are good, but he just dies so fast. And to counter him, well, Noel Stone helps a great deal against him, and just get some heroes that can deal damage and kill him straight up. Pyromancer. This hero is interesting. I would label him as actually balanced / overpowered, because I'm not sure when his first skill got buffed, but it was like 280 damage before, like his second skill, and now it's 310. I'm not sure when this happened, but this is huge. You might look at this and see, oh, it's just 30 damage. I look at this and see, oh, he can one-shot creep waves with his combo. And that is a big difference. I mean, being able to one-shot creep waves and not being able to one-shot creep waves. He can also semi-carry or semi-carry. Not sure how semi sounds cooler. Semi-carry on his third skill, and he just deals a ton of magic damage. He's a good hero against push strategies because he can clear out creep waves. He's just a good hero, perhaps a bit too strong. To counter him, of course, you get Mystic Vestments and perhaps a Mana Battery, because he can spam his skills a lot, but yeah, Pyromancer, a really strong hero. People should explore him more. He has a skill shot, but once he landed, is actually good. Rampage, quite a problematic hero. Quite problematic. And I would say balanced / overpowered, because he can disable in such a ridiculous way going through Magic Community for such long times. I mean, if you bring Rampage down to 1 health and he stuns you once with his stun, which is 100% chance. I mean, it's not chance based. If you have it, you will stun. If he stuns you once with his movement speed, he will get away. The stun is so long. The stun just, it also, you see, it also grants movement speed when you perform a stun, and it stuns for 1.5 seconds. If you stun, if he Rampage stuns, he will get away. He will get away. If you're trying to kill him, he's left with 1 health. He stuns you, he escapes. Period. I think this movement speed buff potentially should be removed. He's just such a good hero, such a good ganker. So ridiculous, and can carry at the same time, kind of. He's a semi-carry. I think he can use a small buff, but he's not used to much. He's kind of situational, but he's a good situational pick, and he doesn't have that problem where, like, if you pick him specifically against some heroes, then he's okay, but rather he's bad if there are no enemy heroes you can counter, or he's really good if there are heroes he can counter. So that is a good example of being situational, but could use a small nerf, I think. Revenant underpowered, straight up underpowered. I'm not sure what the problem is with this hero, but I think it's how hard it is to land skills. Yeah, in theory his first skill deals a lot of damage, but you need 2 auto attacks for it to work, and if you have someone else you need more. And of course there's the thing with Geometer's Bane, which if you use it on illusions it's incredibly strong, but you need to farm that Geometer's Bane, and he's not the best farmer even though he has farming skills. So Revenant is kind of in the underpowered zone right now. It's just that there's all this theory on how this hero is good, but that's the problem with theory, is that it's just that, theory. And in practice it turns out somehow this hero is not that strong. Yes, he does have invisibility, but then again, once people learn to counter invisibility with Revelation, he will become even worse. Which I personally, yeah, I like to pick up a Word of Revelation just against Revenant, and then he's surprised and he dies. So he could use some help. I think everyone will agree. Some people say, yeah, he's a good hero, he's a strong hero. But I think most people think he's just underpowered. Next we have Rhapsody. I would say balanced. She's a good hero. I think there was a period when everyone thought she's kind of underpowered, but her aura is good. Her first skill is excellent. Or I'm not sure. Yeah. First skill. Second skill is also good for pushing. And her ultimate is, I think people thought it was underpowered before, but I think people are starting to see how good it is nowadays, because if you do land a good ultimate, it pretty much turns the fight around. So I think Rhapsody is just a good balanced hero at the moment. Oh, my voice starting to crack. That is bad. Newerth underpowered. Underpowered. I'm not sure how. I guess the problem is that people just get heroes that are good early game nowadays, and Newerth is not. But in the current tanky metagame, you think he would be strong, but he just never gets enough farm because he has no farming skills. He can only auto attack. Yeah, his first skill can be used increased, but that's just bad. He's underpowered. Not too broken like Drunken Master, but I would say underpowered. He needs some kind of help, and yeah, there are just much better carries, and he doesn't really contribute that much early game. Is the problem to counter this hero? Don't bother, really. By the way, about counters, Revenant obviously gets some magic armor, Mystic Vestments. Rhapsody, I would say kind of the same, but just try kill her fast in the fight so that she doesn't have a chance to get her ultimate off, and Shrunken Head also counters her really well. As for Rampage, not sure. There is no way to counter Rampage. I guess you can try get, what is it called, White Talisman, but his first skill might go through it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this, but yeah, Rampage is kind of hard to counter. Next we have Scout. Scout is underpowered. Yes, I said it. He's actually underpowered. The problem with this hero, well, you know what? What if this guy is used as a support hero? I think people should explore this guy as a support hero. But the problem with him is, you can see it on the right. I have an insane KD ratio. I have a really good GPM, but my win percent sucks. Why is that? I mean, like, oh, when I play against Scout, he deals so much damage. But the problem is, he only deals damage for 4 attacks, and then he's kind of useless. And you have to get some kind of slow or stun on him to keep people in place to keep dealing this damage. And once those 4 attacks are over, that's it. You can't really do more damage as a carry. So he's kind of a semi-carry in that sense. But carry is what he's supposed to be, I guess. So I think people should try explore the support aspect of him, because he has a ward, he has an ultimate which helps against, which is just a nuke, which is good in a support hero, and he can remain invisible, which is also good. So support Scout, something to explore. But yeah, the problem is he just doesn't deal the damage in team fights like a carry should. And to counter him, Void Talisman destroys this hero. I mean, he comes out of invis and hits you once, And if you react fast enough, that's all he will do. He will just hit you once. He'll waste his other attacks because he will still attack, but if you have a Void Talisman on, he just won't deal any damage, and that's his entire first skill and damage wasted because you got an item. So that item, Void Talisman, is just too good against this hero, and of course if you get some kind of revelation, Scout won't be able to even come close, and with revelation he doesn't really have an escape mechanism. So this hero needs some help. He farms well, he deals a lot of damage, but not enough in team fights, even with the incredible farm he gets. So yeah, kind of a weak hero, I'd say. Shadowblade, I would say he's underpowered / balanced. He's an incredibly tanky hero, but he just doesn't deal the damage. I don't know, maybe it's because people didn't explore his damage aspect yet with his third skill, but if you don't build him with damage, then, well, he doesn't really have a real escape mechanism, and he just dies without doing too much. So the hero is definitely strong, that's why I label him underpowered / balanced, but if he got a buff, I wouldn't really mind. I'm just saying, if he got a buff, I wouldn't mind, and I doubt he would become overpowered with it. Yeah, he's just hard to take down, but doesn't do much. I don't know, if people explore a good damage build on him, I mean, yeah, people say a lot, what is it called, Harkon's Blade, but the problem with Harkon's Blade is that it eats mana, hard to get, and doesn't give you any tankiness. And Shadowblade just dies, because he doesn't have stuns, he doesn't have an escape mechanism. If he's caught out of position without being tanky by nature, or with items, then he's dead. To counter Shadowblade, you shouldn't be too worried about him in a team fight. I would advise you to start attacking other heroes unless Shadowblade goes for some weird damage build. Just ignore him, kill the other heroes, and get some damage items to kill Shadowblade, really. Next we have Silhouette. Oh. The skill ceiling for this hero is so incredibly high. I would label Silhouette as balanced / overpowered. Her ultimate is strong, her first skill is excellent for farming, her second skill is also incredibly useful, it stuns and it's kind of a blink, escape, it can also be used for farming. Her third skill gives her insane damage output, but she can be out-carried by other heroes late game. That's why I said balanced / overpowered, but if she got a nerf I wouldn't mind too much, really. She's an okay hero. If she got a nerf, I'm not sure what ability it should be to. Maybe a slight increase in cooldowns, maybe? I'm not sure. She's good. She's just a really good hero. Not underpowered for sure, but could be balanced, and that's why I labeled her as a slash. Next I have Slither. Now this hero, I would label him as underpowered because damage over time is supposed to be stronger than normal damage, right? It's supposed to do more damage as time passes. Well, just because it's a damage over time skill, but it just feels like it deals normal damage, and a Mystic Vestment counters this hero so well, especially since Mystic Vestment is so cheap. The problem is also his wards. They can be used for pushing in a push style strategy, but they're not that strong. And also another problem, if you do go for wards and ignore your other two skills, then you become quite weak early game, and later on in the game these skills just lose strength and are useless. So either you go for a push strategy and you become decent at pushing with the wards because they're not that good for pushing, so you become decent and then you become useless late game, or you go for the first two skills but then you're not really the best carry in the game either, and you are not a pusher then either. So I'm not sure how to fix this hero. An overall buff to everything, perhaps in order. I really don't know. I'm adding a bit of bias here, but in Dota 2 this hero is like competitively banned. I'm not sure if he's buffed there or what, but he's not that good in Han. He's just lacking. I never saw Slither that is way too powerful now. Slither is different in Dota 2. I think yeah, his toxicity is different, perhaps even an orb effect. And he's still strong. I don't know, maybe Dota people are just stupid or something. This hero is not too special. I think he should just be dealing more damage, since it is damage over time. Why not just make it higher then? There's also another problem that his damage over time gives you so much time to deny your allies. I mean, 90% of denies, like, ever made, ever, on heroes, are probably when playing against a Slither, because it's so easy to deny. Next we have Soul Reaper under Pryde. This hero is trash. Next we have Soul Stealer. Okay. Soul Reaper, let's see. His stats are bad. His intelligence is bad, so he doesn't have much damage. I mean, it's only plus 2.5, not even 3 for an intelligence hero, but I don't know, he's just weak. He's squishy early game, his attack animation sucks, his missile speed sucks. It's so hard to lane with him, and that's the reason why, I don't remember who exactly, but someone said that that's why competitive players don't pick him, because it's so hard to lane with him, and they're absolutely right. He's freaking atrocious. His first skill requires you to be in 500 range. 500 range, that's less than his attack range, really. So it also eats mana like hell. The skill is so heavy on mana. His Withering Presence is just bad. I mean, people come up with this weird math, as I said in my Soul Reaper video, where, oh, you deal 300 damage over a team fight to 3000 HP heroes. Yeah, 300 damage to a 3000 HP hero is freaking nothing. That's why it's so bad. So I tried to explore the pushing aspect of Soul Reaper, but yeah, he's just freaking bad. His third skill is also, either you get it early game and it's useful kind of a bit, or you don't get it and then it's useless. His ultimate, people like say, your job is to bring a carry down to half HP and kill them, and that's your job done. That's Soul Reaper. Yeah, he's good. Well, did you just listen to what you said just now? Did you listen to yourself? You're saying that this hero's job is to kill half a hero. Isn't that bad? Killing just half a hero, and look at the win percent. This is ridiculous, this hero. I mean, killing half a hero, as much as I want that on my team, no thank you. He's just bad. He needs an overall buff to his everything, and an improvement to his attack animation, and attack damage, and missile speed, so that he's not as bad in the laning phase. And his first skill needs a buff, because it costs too much mana, and the range on it sucks. His passive needs a buff, his other passive needs a buff. His ultimate might be the only okay thing about him, because it also stuns, I guess. Soul Stealer, underpowered. I'm not sure why did people nerf him and think that he was strong. Maybe it's because S2 added a lot of heroes and now we just have more options to deal with Soul Stealer. But the problem with him is that he's super squishy, and he kind of has the Dampier problem, where once he dies and loses half his souls, he becomes near useless. He needs those souls because they buff his damage, which buffs his farming speed, which buffs his ultimate, which buffs his presence in a team fight. Without souls, he's kind of meh. With no escape mechanism, yeah, people get some items like Shrunken Head, Portal Key, and Steam Boots, and you think that's you done, but for some reason you just don't deal damage even with those items. Just too squishy still. And Rampage, if you pick up a Rampage, Soul Stealer is just done. Soul Stealer is dead. I know if not Rampage is nerfed, perhaps Soul Stealer will be okay, but yeah, just too squishy, this hero. There's a problem with him. So, could use a buff, I think. Succubus. Now, this is an incredibly interesting hero because she's the best disabler in the game. Like, there is no better disabler than this hero. At the same time, she's a bit lacking for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but I will say underpowered / balanced, simply because I never really saw a super strong Succubus. Her attack animation is kind of lacking, so she's not that good for farming, and she doesn't have any farming skills. At the same time, she's such a good disabler. But I think if we compare, for example, to Polywalk Priest has a disable just like her ultimate, which is Taunt Tide, yet perhaps deals less damage and disables for like half less a second, I think, which isn't too much to be honest. And her Mesmerize, if you compare it to Polywalk Priest, his Hex, the thing that turns you into teeth or an animal or whatever, you can attack people while they're hexed, but you cannot attack people while they're mesmerized. Plus, Poliwag has a really good pushing skill, his ultimate, and just killing skill in general, which I think just makes Poliwag a much better option than Succubus. Plus, Poliwag has a farming skill. So yeah, if you compare Succubus to Poliwag, then he's just better in every possible way. So yeah, I'll just label Succubus underpowered because of that. And to counter Succubus, well, you just need smart teammates that don't leave you to dial it. Sorry, time. Like mine. Just fixing my grammar there, or spelling, or whatever. I guess you can... No. There's no real counter to this hero. No, I can't really think of anything. I mean, her take is true damage, so Mystic Vestments is useless. Her Succubus hold, the main point about the skill is not really the damage, but the fact that she can hold you, disable you, and then goes through Shrunken Head. So perhaps this hero could use a small buff, maybe to her first skill, which isn't that good. But other than that, yeah, I think she's underpowered, just needs some help. Swiftblade, oh, this guy is, oh my god. Okay, I will label him as balanced. No, I will not. Balanced / overpowered. First skill makes him incredibly useful early game. His second and third skills, the passives, make him incredibly useful late game. And his ultimate is just ridiculous by itself and makes him invulnerable. He's just a really, really strong hero throughout the entire game. And the problem with most semi-carries is that Swiftblade is not a semi-carry. He's a carry. Semi-carries are supposed to be worse late game than real carries, but that's not the case with Swiftblade. He's really good early game and really good late game. So perhaps a nerf to his is a late game. A nerf to his critical... I'm not sure what to do with this hero, but he's definitely a bit too strong. I mean, the fact that you have to hide against this hero in fear of a first blood. Yeah, perhaps a nerf to his first skill's damage output is in order. Of course, to counter this hero, just get Rampage, and his spin won't do too much against him. You can also get Berserker, by the way, another really, really good physical damage dealer. And he's also overpowered, which is why you should take him, but... yeah. I mean, that's the thing with this hero. If you have someone to counter him, then he's maybe okay, but if you don't, he's really good. So, that's my thoughts here. But then you can get a TP and use your Q, and just TP away, and nobody will be able to do anything against it unless they specifically counter you. You have Tempest. Okay, I'll label this hero as balanced. His skills are really good and work very well together, but he is possible to gank in the woods, in the jungle. I mean, when he's jungling, it is possible to go and kill Tempest and set him back by a lot. And then again, after he uses his ultimate, he becomes useless for 3 minutes, so... yeah, this hero is okay, not bad. I mean, all you have to do is land your ultimate good and then you're good to go. But he also can be ganked and countered by many, like for example Hellbringer and his ultimate, which goes through Shrunken Head and immunity and has a huge AoE. So yeah, Tempest is balanced, I think. He can be countered, and if not, he can be a problem, but yeah, that's how it goes. So finally we come to the heroes, which I've missed quite a lot. So first is the cheaper. And oh my god, I've played against this hero and he deals a ridiculous amount of damage. He's just so freaking ridiculous as a hero. He's a good example of the skill shot hero. If he misses skill shots, he's bad, but if he lands them, oh, you're in so much freaking trouble. I will label him as balanced / overpowered just because he deals so much damage. I don't know, this hero is just too freaking strong. To counter him, you get a Mana Berry and Mystic Vestments because he spams those rockets a lot and deals a lot of magic damage, but yeah, this hero, kind of problematic. He just feels like deals too much damage like much more than he should. Plus his focus buffer is actually a really good skill, and I sometimes max it out before Tar Toss or Tear Toss, whatever. yeah, a small nerf is required to this hero, I think. To the damage output. He's really good at last hitting. His attack animation is superb. His just normal damage is pretty good. So, attack animation, missile speed are good, so it's easy to last hit with him. You can use the rockets to last hit as well. Just a really, really strong hero. The Dark Lady. Now, this hero, I think she has been picked competitively recently. This is not biased, this is just a couple of facts. And I honestly think she is overpowered. There's the item that counters her incredibly, a couple of items actually. One is Nullfire Blade, which if you use it on her, it purges her Dark Blade and the speed buff from Charging Strike. And the second one is Void Talisman, which pretty much means Dark Lady can't use any skills on you. So, okay, I'll label her as balanced / overpowered, because if you do get those items that counter her, then Dark Lady is just okay. I mean, there's the problem of theory again. In theory, Nullfire Blade counters her, but in practice, it's really hard to actually have time to use Nullfire on her, especially since she's so fast when she's charging. There's a lot of just problems with that. Nullfire Blade is just a hard item to pick up, and it's not really good on all the heroes in the game. It's only good on very few. So yeah, her ultimate is also incredibly strong. People underestimate it because when she uses it, their ultimate against a bad team, they just run off and leave teammates to die when they really shouldn't. A good counter to her ultimate, by the way, is Wards of Sight. Her ultimate does not unlink vision with wards, so if you have just a ward in your inventory and Dark Lady uses her ultimate, just place it. That will give everyone vision. So, really good way to counter her. Yeah, I think she could use a small nerf, but I'm a bit afraid that if she does, people will just think she's useless. I don't know, I just played myself, Dark Lady myself a few times, and you can see I have 75 win %, and some pretty crazy stats, like above average. So I just think this hero is really strong. Once she silences you, you can't really do anything. The silence is so freaking strong. Perhaps a nerf in the silence duration and she would be a decent balance here. So she could use a nerf. Gladiator underpowered. I do not see what people see in this hero. He has one skill shot, 2 skill shots, and when you land them, they're just okay. Maybe except for the ultimate. If you land a really good ultimate, then yes, it's better. But his first skill for a skill shot, if you don't land it, it's bad. If you do land it, it's okay. And his third skill is really strong, but it doesn't make him a good carry. It just doesn't. Because people often get just Riftshards on him and hope for a crit, but if you don't get it, he sucks. If you do get it, well, he's okay, unless he has like 500 GPM. Which any hero is good with that GPM, except for like Soul Reaper. So this hero could definitely use a buff. Some people even don't think he's a carry and think he's more of a ganker or something, and you know what, I kind of agree with them because he's just not that good of a carry. And that's the problem, because a carry is what he's supposed to be, no? He harasses well, but unless you're in mid lane, where you push the lane and that's good, you will push the lane and that will be bad. So Gladiator could use a buff, I think. He just doesn't carry enough late game, that's the problem with this hero. And to counter him, well, you just try avoid his first skill and get some revelation if he goes for a shroud, which he probably will. You will be fine. Next we have Madman. I haven't seen this hero in quite a while. I think he could use a buff, but I would not say that he's underpowered. He's balanced, but could use a buff, so perhaps / underpowered, maybe, I'm not sure. But the main problem with him is his ultimate, which gives him a lot of attack speed, but doesn't make him crazy overpowered. Which an ultimate should make a hero really strong, especially a carry. It's supposed to make him a carry, the ultimate, but it just doesn't for some reason. Also, his critical strike is worse than Swift Blades, just to compare. Swift Blades gives like 8% more in level 4 for a critical strike. His stock is a really good skill, but if you get a revelation, then Madman becomes really bad. If you don't, then Madman is okay. So Yeah, Madman could definitely use a buff, I think. And the hero's just lacking because of his ultimate. I think if you buff his ultimate, he will be okay. He just doesn't carry hard enough, I think. Thunderbringer, buff this hero, please. This is the same problem as I've described before, too squishy. And get a Mystic Vestments and Man Battery, and this hero can't do anything. He needs a buff. He deals good damage, but he's just way too squishy. Way too squishy. And his attack range is really, really low. So perhaps if his attack range could be buffed so that he doesn't have to put himself in dangerous situations. He also eats mana quite a lot. So could use a buff this hero, so yeah, underpowered, because he's just too squishy and has no escape mechanism. I guess it's because of the new heroes that I just now feel like countering a hero when he's squishy is incredibly easy. You just go and freaking kill him and there's nothing he can do about it. Torture, oh my god, this hero. I would label him as balanced / overpowered. If he manages to survive in a team fight and has the mana to back it up, he deals insane amounts of damage. He can also farm pretty well, but not too well, because he has 260 magic damage and 260 here, so he does not clear out creep waves when he combos. They are always left with red health, which is okay. So this hero does not need a buff for sure, but he's just very useful. His stun is a good skill shot. If you miss it, which is easy, it's bad, but if you land it, it's pretty good. Other than that, the hero he just deals damage if you manage to survive, which just get a shrunken head and you should be fine. Sacrificial Stone is more rare nowadays because it just sucks as an item. Sucks balls, by the way, not just sucks. To counter this hero, I'm really not sure. Perhaps a Mystic Vestments and a shrunken head. And then this hero won't be too much of a problem, but he's also really good for pushing with his impalement. And he can carry as well. Really good harasser too when in the lane, so really strong hero. Could use a nerf. Not too overpowered though, and definitely not underpowered. That's just my thoughts. Tremble. Okay, Tremble. Underpowered. And I will tell you in a second why. First of all, his ultimate was nerfed pretty hard, so now it's not as useful. Especially his slow has been nerfed because it doesn't work on his ultimate anymore. And here's the #1 problem with Tremble. He's a good ganker and stuff, yeah, I agree. But he's supposed to be the best mid hero or something, right? He's supposed to be an incredibly hard to beat mid hero. The problem is that Sulfuras is the freaking best mid hero. And if Tremble goes up against the Sulfuras in a lane, Tremble will lose. Straight up. So because of the introduction of Sulfuras, Tremble now, like, he's not the best mid hero, he's not the best ganker, maybe, because of his ultimate being nerfed. He's not the best pusher now either. It's because of Sulfuras that this guy is not that good. Yeah, he gets the farm, but he's not a real carry. He's not that strong of a carry, which is also a problem. And his first skill can be used for farming, but it's not that good for farming because the hero just doesn't have much mana to spend. You usually don't go mana regen items on him because you can't really afford to. If you go for mana regen items, you're definitely not going to be carrying. So this hero needs a buff. And I think the main problem is Sulfuras. So before people cried, oh, Tremble overpowered, he's impossible to beat mid, especially since you cannot buy wards on level 1. And now we have this Sulfuras, which just goes mid, and Tremble comes out, oh, I'm gonna hit you. And Sulfuras just ignores him, hits him back, restores all his life back, and deals a ton of damage as well, and Tremble just runs away back to base to heal, because, yeah. So Sulfuras is the main reason why people don't see Tremble as being overpowered, because there's Sulfuras who's more overpowered. So perhaps if Sulfuras is nerfed, Tremble could be better, but definitely underpowered at the moment. Not that good for pushing, and even if he gets crazy GPM, like look, my average GPM is freaking high, but my win percent isn't that high. I think could be higher, but yeah. And yes, I know about Tremble rate, but since then Tremble has been nerfed like 20,000 times. people have cried about him too much, and now we have Self-Force to cry about, right? Tundra. This hero is interesting to say the least. He has quite unique skills, and he's good in some situations and bad in others. I mean, he either deals a lot of damage and kills heroes fast, or he doesn't because his heroes are just too strong. Also, you can see my win percent with him is quite low, but I think those are old games. But my view on him is sometimes you use your ultimate, first skill, third skill, and then use the summon, and you still don't kill a hero. The reason why he's still good though is because his avalanche goes through magic community and stuns for a really long time. So you can see it's a 4-second stun and it's guaranteed to work. Also, if someone gets a null stun to counter Tundra, you just use Cold Shoulder and cancel it. Pretty much. His Call of the Winter is actually good for scouting, so this hero I think he could use a buff. I would label him as underpowered / balanced, maybe even underpowered, but I mean, if he gets a buff, I don't think too many people will be against it. And there's the same problem with competitive players. I think there's like a couple of players that actually pick him, but he's never really that strong or scary. He's not that good of a carry either. Could use some help. I don't think anyone would mind if this hero got buffed, and that's a sign that he's underpowered. Valkyrie, overpowered. The only reason why developers don't touch her is because, oh, she's from Dota, we cannot nerf this hero, but she's too good. She has an escape mechanism and invisibility for the entire team, the longest stun in the game, a ton of magic damage, and a really good farming skill. And she's a carry on top of all of that. She is just too freaking good. A small nerf is required somewhere. I'm not sure where. The cooldown on her leap is already pretty high, so increasing that won't do much. I guess a reduction on the range of her leap. But she's just really good. You see her in every game, and she almost never does bad unless you like. She has a really good skill shot. If you miss it, which is most of the time, then yeah, it's bad. Not too bad though, but if you actually land it, it's really good. People should just, I mean, look at my win percent. And I'm not even that good of a Valkyrie player. So people just don't touch her because she's from Dota, but she's too strong. She needs a nerf, I think. Those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts again. Vindicator underpowered. The new carry Vindicator, they're just better carries. He's also squishy, which is a problem. He has no escape mechanism, which is a problem. He only carries super late game. You can see also my win percent is not that high. Yes, his first skill can be used for farming, but not that effective for it. Yeah, this hero just needs a buff. I'm not sure who tests in the super beta client. Like, who tests it? This hero is, like, when he came out, even me, even I, like, with the new changes, even though I like them, I saw that he's either underpowered or balanced. Definitely not a strong carry. It doesn't take much to realize that this hero needs a buff. So to counter Vindicator, yeah, just kill him. Straight up. By the way, to counter Valkyrie, I don't know how to counter the Tundra or Tremble because they have a good mix of skill, but to counter Valkyrie, I guess you can get a Mystic Vestments to help you out, and get Dust, get Revelation. Her ultimate does not seem like much, but it is actually incredibly strong. When you get caught out of position because of this skill, you're freaking screwed. So I went over Vindicator, and next we have Voodoo Gesture. Now this hero is, I would label him as balanced, but could use a small buff perhaps. His first skill is incredibly good if you manage to land it well. His third skill, you cannot deny heroes, and it's also incredibly strong. He has a heal and a damage skill, and his ultimate is also pretty freaking good. So yeah, this hero perhaps could use a small buff, perhaps to his ultimate, because he needs to channel it for the full duration, but he's just a good support hero, and he has one of the best, I mean, not one of, well, yeah, one of the best intelligence gains in the game, which is 3. Just a really strong hero. Don't really see a problem with him, but could use perhaps a small buff, but I still say he's balanced. Next we have War Beast. I would say balanced. Yeah, I actually said it. He's a really good hero with a shrunken head and some damage items, but without those she's not too good of a hero. His movement speed is ridiculous, of course, which is the maximum he uses his ultimate, but if you manage to stun him, it's not really that scary, I would say. He's just a good hero in general, maybe a bit too good for pushing, which could be a problem. So I wouldn't mind if his pushing got nerfed a bit. Although, actually, I would kind of mind, because I'm all for pushing strategies, because they end games faster, and that's what Hunt needs at the moment. For the games not to last as long as a competitive game, that's pretty important. So, by the way, to counter War Beast, Void Talisman is useless. Next we have Wild Soul. Of course, Wild Soul is my favorite hero in the game. My #1 favorite, and what do I think about him? I think he's balanced. I think he's just a good hero. Early game, if you gank him, he pretty much gets set off for the entire game. Like, he won't be much of a problem if you gank him a couple of times, and his ultimate does keep him alive. And you know, my build where you build the bear, many people just don't know how to deal with it and maybe think that it's too strong, where, oh, the bear deals like 2000 damage a hit and I can't do anything against it, and if I kill the bear he just resummons it. Well, yeah, then kill it again and then I won't be able to resummon it, plus the bear gives gold, and plus my hero itself without the bear can't really do anything at all when I go for the bear build. So I think this hero is just balanced at the moment. Yeah, I think he has a high skill ceiling, and if you manage to reach it, he can be a really strong hero, and if you don't, he's a weak hero, so kind of like Ophelia in this sense. I don't know, perhaps he could use a little amount of changes to make him a bit more active early game, because he's really not that active, and it's really hard to gank without boots. And if you do buff the movement speed of his bear or something, I don't know, then he will need a nerf in some other area. But yeah, he can be a bit boring to play with and against, but not so boring late game when he comes out with a mock and your entire team starts dying. Witch Slayer. I would say balanced / overpowered, because of his first and second skills, which are insane long disables, plus he has an incredible nuke, plus he never needs mana ever. I mean, just a good, really good overall hero, an excellent support hero, perhaps a bit too good of a support hero because of those disables. So can be quite ridiculous. Nullstone will not counter this hero because he will just power drain you first and waste that. Also, his miniaturization and power drain, both these skills will kill illusions. So if no mana is charging on you, just use power drain. And if the illusion disappears, then yeah, that's no mana skills wasted for 25 mana. And if it does not disappear, just use miniaturization straight after and turn Nomad into creep. So just a really, really good hero to have. Like, I almost never regret a Witch Slayer on my team, even if the player is bad. Just a really good hero, could use a nerf. So balanced / overpowered, or perhaps just overpowered. And he can be built as a carry as well, or a semi-carry at least, to deal insane amounts of damage. Yeah, Witch Slayer, too good of a support, I would say. You can see my 1% is pretty high, but that's whatever. So yeah, could use a nerf this year, perhaps. Well, yeah, he's not broken or anything, but next we have Wretched Hag. She's balanced, even though she has a blink, which is a ridiculous skill. She's not a Mage Bane who turns the entire game into a farm fest and deals insane amounts of damage late game, even though she can't semi-carry. She doesn't. If she gets some Mystic Vest, by the way, counters to Witch Slayer, well, yeah, Shrunken Head, the only thing I can think of. And Wild Soul, yeah, also counters. When Wild Soul goes for a normal build, like on himself, not on the bear, then you just kill Wild Soul, yeah. But when someone builds the bear, like I do, kill the bear. The bear is just as important as the hero. So that's the counter to that. Witch Slayer, Shrunken Head, only thing I can think of, yeah. Next we have Wretched Hag. I already said that she's a balanced hero, and she's just okay. She doesn't deal that much damage if you get Mystic Vestments and some health. So she does have that blink, but it's not as annoying on this hero for some reason. I don't know. Perhaps because she has like 3 other active skills and she can use up her mana and not do much else. She can farm well, but it costs her a lot of mana to compensate. Yeah, just a good hero. Has a good mix of skills. Doesn't really have a stun. It's funny how I have a 90% win with this hero. Perhaps she could use a small nerf, but I'm afraid if she's nerfed she won't be used anymore. Yeah, okay, a small increase in the blink cooldown, because blink is just ridiculous skill that makes positioning not important. And last but not least, Zephyr. With the recent nerf, I think this hero could be okay now. Haven't seen him lately, really, after the nerf. Haven't seen him being too good. His third skill is countered by Arachna now, which people should explore with her True Strike, and also countered by a Savage Mace. Yeah, I think with the recent Arachna change, if you pick her up against Zephyr, okay, I'll say balanced. Okay, I'll say balanced in this hero with the recent nerf. His first skill, nerf to his first skill, as I said, it slows down his farming speed, which 20 damage isn't much, but remember, 20 damage. Pyromancer only has 3 more damage on his first skill, and that pushes him over the edge. That's how important that stuff is, so yeah. So I will label him as balanced, and I will re-mention the counters in forms of heroes and stuff. So yeah, to counter Wretched Hag Mystic Vestments, and you can get a Null Stone to counter her first skill, but you don't really have to. And Shrunken Head counters her completely, and if you silence her with a Hellflower, she's done. So that's it. That's all heroes covered. Balance video is done. My views on all the heroes, I remind you that this is just at this moment. My views may change and most likely will change in the future, and in the future we might have balance patches will change this. But now you know what I think about every hero and a way to counter him, at least in my bracket and how I see him, and on a competitive level. Some heroes like Tundra and Pharaoh, I don't really understand why they're picked competitively. I think the main reason for Tundra is his bird, which gives you incredible vision. It's just really good to have on your team, and his other skills aren't that overpowered or anything or strong. So yeah, I think I'm done here. Might do a video on items later, but I think it will be more of a suggestion video on how to fix items than a balance video. So I'll see you next time. My voice is almost dead. Remember to check out my Q&A on my channel page if you have any questions, and just stick around in my chat and ask me for a game, but don't ask me freaking more than once, because it's annoying. If I say no, that's probably because I'm busy with something like this now, and I'm not playing myself. Or I might just be wanting to play myself. I don't know. I think that covers everything. See you next time.